Hey guys, this is Super Tycon, and you might have noticed I haven't been so active with streams, particularly Hellish Chord streams. That's just been because university's been getting in the way a whole lot, but I do have a backlog of the videos I want to put out, so I'm actually going to be doing some Shogun 2 this time around. I haven't posted a whole lot of that on my channel lately, but anyone who's like been around for a long time might have seen some of the older Shogun 2 content. Anyways, it's not much. It's like a few videos here and there, many of them throwaway videos, but all the same, I've done some. And I thought I would just go through some replays, and so for this episode, I'm going to go through one that was kind of hilarious that happened pretty recently. And this was in Fall of the Samurai, and I did a campaign drop battle. And so I don't actually know who I was playing against because I just dropped into some random guy's campaign, which is it's kind of the beauty of that mode is that you can just play as the AI faction against some guy just playing as beta if he enables it. You can't jump into just any beta. Any campaign, I should say. So I have a lot of replays I'd love to go through. A bunch of games I had with Vinu, which were a lot of fun. We will go through those. But yeah, there was this crazy campaign drop that I did. And apparently I was playing Rebels? Interesting. It looks like I was playing as Rebels. Very cool. So I might not have messed this guy's campaign up a whole lot. Again, I don't know who this is. It's not important. I'm not here to make fun of anybody. I'm not here to do any of that. Not that it matters. My channel is small anyway, but I'm not about that. That's not what we're here for. This is just this could be instructional for some of you who play Shogun 2, however. Yeah, so Numata Rebels is what we were playing as, and we're fighting against the Satsuma. Essentially, he has about 1,000 men. I have about 1,600 men. It's not that much more. And honestly, I'm looking at these defenses here. They're pretty formidable. And I'm just thinking, attacking is going to be difficult, you know? I don't see myself winning this one, but I do win in the end. Like, if you showed me this, though, you know, just as I was playing this, I was just like, I don't know how you're going to win this. And if you showed me a replay like this, I'd think, yeah, the defenders win. Because I've won on defense against worse odds and campaigns several times. So, like, this is totally winnable. What I will say, though, is this castle does have a flaw. And that is a flaw I will exploit at some point. Is that these towers can actually be taken right here, right below the ramparts, which makes no sense. I don't know why they designed the map this way. I thought it was there's a map in a mod, Unequal Treaties mod, where this is the case as well. I thought that was unique to that mod, but no, that's actually just the default thing. So, not the modder's fault, it's the developer's fault. Unfortunately, this tower here, this is a really formidable tower. It shoots really quickly, but it's over here in the rear. I'm not even going to be attacking there, so it basically made no difference. It might have been firing at some point in the battle, but essentially made no difference. So what he does here, of course, is he puts his guns on the ramparts. I'm thinking, if I just charge in, he's going to start gunning me down, and it's not going to be a good time. Climbing the walls also incurs losses. It's very bad for morale, so I just do not see that going very well. So I'm kind of taking my time of setting up, kind of thinking of what my strategy is going to be, because just climbing in and trying to fight in melee, I don't think literally a 600-man advantage is going to make that much of a difference. And he's also got these spears here. I forget how you show their stats. That would be kind of helpful if I could, but not super important. It might be to do with the fact this is a campaign drop. Point is, they are levy spears. Not that much better, I don't think, than these guys in melee, but good enough. They're spears. They will do the job. They will hold their ground. They cannot rout. Remember, this is actually the final bit of the castle, this whole thing. So they cannot rout whatsoever. So that's why attacking is going to be so difficult. And as I found out, actually, towards the end, this terrain breaks up your formation. Even as you climb up, you're stuck in this column as you climb up, and you can't even line up at point blank because of this. It's very difficult terrain. So it's kind of a nice spot to defend. The main disadvantage, of course, with this castle is that you've also got like all these ramparts here to hold. Which, in theory, he doesn't have enough men to hold. I could have split everyone around and tried to, like, use my numbers that way. But I feel like it would have just enabled him to attack various formations of men piecemeal. Again, remembering it's not that big of a numbers difference, and if he's not liking what's happening, he could retreat all of his men to the final stronghold, the Tenchu over here, and it would not have ended very well. So what I do is I open up this engagement by opening fire. I think I have the superior firepower, so I'm just going to be able to shoot his men, see what happens. You know, I'm kind of experimenting a little bit. Keep in mind I haven't played this game in a little bit. I do know the fort walls, the ramparts, they do cover your men quite substantially. But I was thinking what I could do was I could do a fire in advance type strategy. So I have the first rank fire, we gradually advance and use multiple ranks. You can see I have all these men firing at once. And the hope is, just for sheer firepower, we'll be able to gun these guys down. So I'm not confident I'll win in melee, so maybe I'll win by shooting them down. A bit of a stretch in hindsight, but I think just rushing head on would have also lost this engagement. Yes, basically this doesn't go well for me as time goes on. There's not much else to say here. We just blast away at each other for a bit, so I will skip a little bit. Just watch as I advance my men. Like, we kind of do a fire in advance. These men get closer, and I'm looking to inflict even more losses as we get closer. And you will see, I am actually getting some kills. They're at 163 losses. But if you look across my lines, we are starting to take casualties yourself. In fact, this line right here took a quarter of its men. It's casualties. 65, 139. Yeah, this line is suffering a lot. And all this is to bring one line down to a quarter of their men. He actually pulls these men back because he's seeing that I'm not even attacking here. He was smart. He was like, he understood the possibility of me sweeping in here and just taking the castle. Probably the primary disadvantage of this castle. But it's hard to exploit if an opponent really knows what he's doing, because he'll just bring his men back here. So we'll fast forward some more. You can just see how this engagement is at best a stalemate, but I'll say it's losing for me. And you'll see over time my men will actually start routing. His men can't. That's also the other problem we will run into. And of course we'd run into that even in melee. The general's just kind of chilling over there, no pointing and putting on fire. He actually did something pretty smart here and moved a fresh line to engage my men, as his line started to suffer some losses. So it's a nice back and forth. I'm trying to get these guys up to point blank range, and hopefully that'll increase their accuracy. That is my thinking. We have multiple ranks firing again, like I was alluding to. So because they're all able to fire upwards, this is a nice trick if you're attacking a hill. If you're able to get your men close enough like this, you can get multiple ranks firing. Multiple lines, I should say. Of course you get multiple ranks either way. Multiple lines of men firing. It's potentially quite effective. But the fact that we're so downhill, and the fact that they're in cover, is also a benefit to the enemy. And we're going to see lines starting to break here. This one, for instance, taking massive casualties. 75 out of 200 men. You're going to see that trend continue as this fight goes on. Eventually, I'm going to try and send this line into melee. Might as well. Like, there's no point in leaving them there to just shoot at the enemy. You're going to see them climb up here. This is not going to go well for them, but maybe they can tie up some of those men. At some point, he actually sent a line down here to shoot because I got a bit too close, and he managed to take some of my men down. Just that line there was really well done in his part. That line that he rotated out after it took some casualties. So let's watch my men climb up here. They have routed at this point, but they will continue the climb because they've already started. And you can see they obviously can't kill anybody. They might tie down some of the men who are shooting as they're doing their kill animations. When you're routing, of course, you cannot attack the enemy. but you can force them to do a kill animation, so that might tie down some of the shooters. But the fact is, this cover is working very well for them, and they can't route, so the casualties we are taking are just completely unsustainable. There's no real consequences if I lose, though, so I was like, you know, might as well experiment with this, see if it would work. It didn't. Except to the extent that his men are completely tied up here. And this unit that's routing here will become important later. And as will my general. And again, we're just having some units climb up here to try and tie them down. We're providing suppressing fire, though it doesn't work as well as you might think, to be honest. And again, we're just trying to tie down as many of these men as we can. They actually are starting to suffer. Yeah, they're starting to suffer some casualties here, so it's a good thing, but at the same time, look how much we're suffering. And actually, I'm struggling to reform my line because of this terrain. I didn't realize this terrain would disrupt my formation as much as it has. And so these guys have routed at this point. I still haven't noticed these men who have come back. This will prove absolutely crucial for the late stage of the battle, and at this point my main line is buckling, about to break, and I'm struggling to reform them. I managed to reform them in some kind of blocky formation, which actually means some of these men won't fire. So things are getting really bad from that perspective. And I believe he's moved both of his lines to the ramparts here. At this point, I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna win this, we need to take the Tenchu. It's the only way we can win the siege at this point. We cannot win this by killing the enemy. So I bring my general over here, and I bring in these guys to try and take the gate, which will make the trip up here much quicker. Now, if he finds out that I'm doing this, it's very simple for him to just send some spearmen over here, and there'll be basically nothing I can do. But I have to try. These men are going to hold down the fort, so to speak. These men will be locked in place trying to fight them. Of course, in practice, he can move them. It's not a problem. But I bet you he's thinking, I've won this battle, and he's got his camera right here, just watching what's going on. This is a common mistake many new players make. And again, I don't know who this guy is, so again, it's not to make fun of him or anything. But this is something you can do against AI in your campaigns. You can do it against players too if they're not paying attention. You can sneak around and just take the capture point, and you will take the castle if you do that. So this is what my men are doing. My general and this levy infantry here just going on a little expedition here. They've become SEAL Team 6 here. And this Spec Ops mission ends up succeeding, as you will find out. Otherwise, I wouldn't post this video. I mean, this isn't very interesting. My men just shooting at them and getting killed, right?
Enemy tower is yours, General.
And so I actually take this archery tower, which minimizes the casualties we'll take going forward. My general at this point has taken no casualties. These guys barely hanging on. I think my general could have taken this anyway, but no matter. And so this tower is going to be slowly picking away at these guys. I don't think it really matters, but it's something. He's not really noticing it, actually, even though it would have, I would think, given him a notification that it took his archery tower. But perhaps he's disabled those. I think you can disable those notifications. In his defense, there's a potential reason why.
I fear your general
no
is
idea.
in mortal peril, sir.
So my general takes some casualties in the climb. As anyone who plays Shogun knows, when you climb these walls, you take casualties automatically, just because the climb is so treacherous, especially with a big wall. But all the same, we get to the capture point. These line infantry are here to just soak up some arrows, maybe hold up the enemy a little bit. I was planning to like line them up here in case the enemy tried to come towards us, they do have a bit of distance to go. That is a disadvantage of this castle. So if this area falls and you've got a bunch of men here, you're going to struggle to take back the Tenchu if I have sufficient manpower. In this case, he's concerned with just mopping everything up. He doesn't so much care about what's going on here, and he has missed the timer. The timer would have been his other indication that something's going wrong. But at this point, he is focused on making sure the rebels are killed, which I totally understand. And unfortunately, that just completely leads to his downfall. So we're going to skip this. You know what happens. It's close. We take a bunch of casualties on the general here. This tower could not be taken. He actually had spearmen there ready to prevent that from happening, but it didn't matter. I ended up taking the castle. And so this is probably my most impressive siege victory I've ever had. I was really surprised this worked, especially against the player. AI, you can do cheesy strats and win, but I got very lucky here, frankly. Like, because if this guy knew what I was up to, he would have stopped me in my tracks for sure. So I can imagine he wasn't very happy with this, because he was clearly winning. Like, look at that. He hasn't even taken that many losses if you think about it. But then he looks and it's like costly. It's like a costly victory for me. Which is nuts. But yeah, that's the battle, and that's how I got such a crazy result. I just managed to sneak in and take the Tenchu against this guy. And again, I don't know who he is. This is not his username, let's be clear. This is his general's name, so... And this is also not my username, obviously. But yeah, it was a fun battle. Good game to my opponent all the same, if you somehow find this video. And... yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was glad you were enabling the campaign drop-in thing. That's a lot of fun. And, yeah, I hope he quick-saved or something so he could have reset that, 'cause that must be frustrating, losing such an important castle to rebels like that. It might not have ruined his campaign in practice, because they're just rebels, but still. That's it for the video, and hopefully this is instructive to anyone playing sieges or playing campaigns. Sometimes it's not about like winning the battle. Sometimes it's all about getting to that Tenchu point. If you can just lock that area down, you can win a siege, no problem. And that's one of the main disadvantages the defenders have, is that they have to defend that point. It's not just a matter of keeping the enemy out and killing them. It's a matter of also making sure that that Tenchu, that keep, if you will, if you want to use European term, is well defended. So that's it, and I'll see you guys next time. I'll definitely be posting a bit more Shogun too. There's some videos that I'll make of my battles with Vinu and stuff like that I really enjoyed, so keep an eye out for those. Might post some other Hellish Court content as well. And yeah, see you guys next time.